Well, this seemed like a good time to do some testing since we're set up so we should be able to pull gas from a plant and measure the hydrogen. So I've connected up the 12 volt power here, and I've connected to a Raspberry Pi using this USB connector there. And on the Raspberry Pi, I'm running a program called Test Pi Board, which lets me go through some of these basic functions and make sure everything's working. So first I'll type in the program, the command left, which ought to open up the left solenoid valve, and you can see that the LED came on, so that's good. Now I'll try to switch to the right hand side. I'll type in right, and you can see the left LED went out, but the right LED didn't come on. So there's some kind of a problem here. And you can often debug it with an inexpensive voltmeter, but since I've got a oscilloscope hooked up, I'll go ahead and use that. And if I test right up here, I ought to be seeing voltage from the let me move the oscilloscope trace down. Right. So if I test right here, I ought to be seeing voltage 12 volts coming to the solenoid valve, and I don't see that. So I'll trace back, and the place where it ought to be coming from is this solid state relay here, this pin here, and when I touch that pin on the solid state relay chip, I'm getting a signal. So it looks like maybe I forgot to solder the pin in the socket beneath that, which would connect over to this point here. Okay, so I checked on the back, and sure enough, I'd missed soldering a pin. So I've soldered that now, and let's see if that fixes the problem. So again, I'm running the program testpiboard.py on the Raspberry Pi that's connected via this USB here. I've got my power on. So again, I'll type in left to open up the left solenoid valve. That's still working. Now I'll type in right to open up the right solenoid valve, I hope. And that seems to have fixed the problem. I should say, how did I know, what was what on the circuit? I'll be publishing a book that has the circuit diagrams, but I haven't done that yet. You could probably figure it out, but it'll be easier with the diagrams. So now I've got the right solenoid valve open. This is a red LED. It actually looks pretty bright. Maybe I should have used a bigger current limiting resistor, like a 2K rather than a 1K, but looks okay by eye. But now let's see what happens. Can I actually sample through there? So I'll type in INP for input pump /25, so a 25% duty cycle on the pulse width modulation. And you see how the little ball of the flow meter jumped up. So now we're getting 500 milliliters per minute coming in right now just from room air, because I don't have it hooked up to a plant, going through the right-hand solenoid valve and through the pump, through the flow meter, and finally over to the container here with the hydrogen and CO2 sensors.